Hello everybody. It's Pip here from queenpipcards.com and the Card Making Know-How Academy membership, which you can see below. In my hands, this is what 40 cards looks like. In fact, it doesn't, because I've got another whole bunch here. It's what 40 cards look like, which is what we spent the weekend doing at my online creative weekend paper party. It was a lot of fun. We did a lot of card making. Oh, I'm going to put these away. Over here. Put them back in there. I'm going to show you a few sneak peeks of the ones that we did this weekend, just a few of them, obviously because we did 40, so I didn't have time. I haven't got time to go through them all. It will be available to purchase if you missed out. It'll be available to purchase from tomorrow, so you'll be able to get your hands on it if you want to. Hi Melly, hi Sue. Pip must be exhausted after 2 weekends of teaching and demoing. Wonder if she has any voice left. Yeah, it's there. It's a little bit sore. But it is there just about. Thanks, Cheryl. Good evening, Julie. Hi. Oh my goodness, Sally's just cycled 18 miles. We'll have to try not to fall asleep. Good grief. Hi, Deborah from Australia. Nice to see you. So we had a great weekend. It was great fun. We started on Friday, went all the way through the weekend. Lots of videos, lots of tutorials, lots of crafting fun. So here's just a couple of them. I just wanted to share a few ideas, some of the ones we did. I think this is my favourite fun fold that we did of the weekend. So this one, and then it opens up, and then it opens up again, so you can stand it on your mantelpiece, which is great. So yeah, that was a good one. And then we did more Mediterranean blooms. We did meandering gardens, perennial lavender. We did some fun folds that fold out like this, which is very nice. We had some sneaky peeks of the beautiful new papers that came out. We had another fun fold here, which was great. We had a load of fun playing with lots of over 40 ideas I shared over the weekend. And you can grab it from tomorrow, as I say. So if you're in my email, you'll get the email tomorrow with the link. Hi, Tricia. Hi, Rosalind. Hi, Angela, hello. And it was all dedicated and focused on paper, but today we're not doing paper. Today we're doing alcohol markers. So we're just going to put my camera down, put my lighting on. Ooh. Hey, Lynn. Okay, why are my lights not coming on? Oh, there we go. There's one of them. That's good. I'll put the other one on there. Excellent. So today we're focusing on alcohol markers, but we're kind of going to use some paper as well. So I'm looking at Citrus Blooms, which is the stamp set. Okay, we're going to do this one. I'm not going to do the big one. I'm going to do the little one because I have to dash. I have to make sure that I'm out of here by about 1:20 because I've got to go for my doctor. My doctor's, it's just my annual checkup, but getting an appointment is like pulling teeth in the UK. So I need to make sure that I'm there. So this is a stamp set and papers. I love them. I've fallen in love with them so much. And who knew that I would be so enamoured of fruit? Not me, that's for sure. Thank you. Tricia says, what are the best alcohol markers? Well, obviously I'm going to say the Stampin' Up! Stampin' Blends. But actually there's several. So personally, I know Copic are seen as kind of like the ultimate, I think, in alcohol markers. They tend to be the ones that people know, and you can do like full courses and become qualified in Copic and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I'm not an artist. I'm not going to be doing anything that needs publishing or like it's going to be on a in a book or on a picture on a wall or anything like that. I'm just making cards, right? So for me, I love my Stampin' Up! Markers. I think they're great. They do what they say on the tin. If you are in the membership, there I've got loads of ways of working. You are in the membership, Tricia, so you can find out about all that. There's loads of tutorials on alcohol markers and alcohol ink in Explore. Okay, so that's where you can go and find out a bit more. So I love my Stampin' Up! Blends because they match everything. That's the thing that you can't get with any other ink. If you like Stampin' Up! Products, then the blends will match with them. If you don't care about the matching, then you can use anything you like. But I only have really experience of those and Pro markers. Pro markers I find very dry and they don't blend it in my mind as well. I prefer a wet alcohol marker, which is why I like the Stampin' Up ones. And I hear that Copic is pretty similar, but more... there's just so many of them that to get the entire collection, it's way more expensive. Whereas I think you can get the Stampin' Up markers in a select number of colours. You don't have to get the whole variety because all of our colours combine and work well together. So there you go. That's my thoughts on it. But yeah, I love my alcohol markers and I love my Stampin' Up. I have loads of hints and tips in the membership about them. Okay. Oh, there's loads of things. Loads of questions. You're all chatting with each other. Excellent. Betty's on. Hello. 30 degrees. Good heavens. That's positively balmy for you. Mary trying to clear some space after a fantastic paper party. Thank you. Such fun. Can't wait for the next one. Yeah, it might be a while, but yes. Okay. Alrighty. So we're going to start with this image, and rather than using my memento, I've actually stamped it in grey granite because our inks are water-based, so you can stamp with those and use them with your blends. They do bleed a little bit more, so just be aware of that. And we're going to start by putting in some lighter tones. So I've got a whole select. You can't see all this. Let me bring those over. Let me bring them over so I can show you what we've got. So I've got a whole selection. I've got, because we're going to do oranges, so obviously we need some orange colours. But the great thing is we've got this paper. So, you know, you've got a cheap version here of how these should look because they're already on the paper, which is always helpful. So I've got my palest yellow, I've got my darker yellow, because even though it's orange, we still need some yellow and we still need some yellow for the flowers. Then I've got my pumpkin pie. This is my Cajun Craze. I've got my pumpkin pie light and dark. And I like these because you get that light and dark in the colours. Then I've got my Mossy Meadow, my Lemon Lime Twist, and my Calypso Coral, which is a bit peachy. I don't actually have the peach. I haven't bought those yet, so that's probably the one that I'm missing that I would recommend you probably do buy as well. But hey ho, we will go with these. So I'm going to come in a little bit closer. And we're going to get started. Okay, so I'm going to start with some light colouring to get some lighter colours of where I want it to be a bit lighter. This is Lemon Lolly, and it's the light version. So I'm going to start with my flowers just at the tops, and then I'm going to add some into my oranges, which you're like, hey, hang on a minute, it's oranges. Yes, but you can use the yellow to provide that light, and we need it sort of in a circular pattern because it's an orange, so it needs to be you know, lit where the light hits it. Okay, so we'll probably have all this bit here quite light, and then I'm going to put some light on the outside of these flowers down here. And then we can start going a bit darker. So we'll put a little bit of dark in the centre of our... Oh, what's this gone? Oh, that's my Daffodil Delight. I thought that was the wrong colour. There we go. Dark Lemon Lolly. I thought that was a bit dark. Okay. We'll lighten that up a bit. That's going to be a bit odd. Also looks like I need a new Daffodil Delight because that's gone very strange colour. To be fair, I've had my Daffodil Delight for years, so, you know. Now, I'm not an artist, even though my mum was an artist. I do not put myself out as any particular artist. But, you know, you can always look at things, apart from that one that's gone miserly, and work out where things are going to be slightly darker than they are normally. So we'll definitely have a bit of dark coming in to the centre of these blooms. And then we'll go with a slight... I can see what this pumpkin pie is looking like. Yeah, it's a little dark. I think even my could be a little dark. We'll just add a little bit of Daffodil Delight to the centre of these flowers, but we'll probably lighten them up again in a moment with a bit more light coming in here. Okay, so don't be afraid to blend over and over again, because that's the whole point of alcohol markers, is that the more you blend in, the more colour range you get and the more shading and light you can get on your flowers. So it will lighten things if you add light over the top, which I sort of want it to do, even though you're adding a little bit more colour. So we'll just do that, and if need be I can always use my blender pen, okay, which is or colour lifter as it's called, which is my plain white one. I'm gonna try and lift some of that off. I'm not sure it's going to work because that's really weird. I've never seen a colour go quite like that, but we'll try it and see. Just put a bit of lift on that, see how it goes. Okay, so that's that. Then we've got our central piece here. I'm going to then go in with some what's this, light pumpkin pie, and you can see I'm not particularly careful about this because I'm not. I like this. I'll put this in. I'm going to go straight over the top of my yellow, okay, because that's just going to give it a nice sort of glow look in that central piece, which will look like it's lightened up. Okay, and we'll come round here, keep adding a bit more, and when it's nice like that, it really soaks it in really well. And we'll see, this is the dark orange, dark pumpkin, so we know we're going to be dark under here. We know we're going to be dark a little bit underneath here, probably around the back. We've got these little lines where it's dark here, and I'm using my brush tip, which I know might scare some people, but you're just flicking it around. It's not going to be so dark on the top, okay, because that's where the light's coming from. What's this now? We've got dark Calypso Coral. Let's see how that colour goes. Ooh, that's even darker. Don't want that. Light Calypso Coral. Okay, a little pink. I think that's running out, to be fair. Let's run. That's better. So we'll just add a touch of pink in here, which I know you're thinking, it's pink, but it's corally pink, so we'll go. And it won't end up looking that colour anyway. So we'll just bring that in just on the edge, like so. I'm hoping you can see how I'm doing this. There we go. Okay. So it's looking a bit kind of like, ooh, it's a bit weird. And then we're going to go for Cajun Craze, which is like, oh my goodness, that's really dark. But we're going to go for the light. Oh my goodness. I need a whole bunch of new blends, obviously. I want to pick out these dots. Can you see those? Can you see that? Hopefully you can. There's like loads of little dots on the skin of the orange here, and they're normally darker. So we're going in now. I'm having to use my brush end because my other end's just run out on me, but that's okay. You can do quite a lot with just a tip of a brush. Okay, then what we're going to do is we're going to go back in with our light pumpkin pie. Make sure it's the light pumpkin pie that you're using, and help to sort of blend all that lot together. And if you overlay, this is the great thing about alcohol markers, they just beautifully blend in the colours that you've put underneath. But you shouldn't be scared about putting darkness in there, because actually it is quite dark underneath that. So if you look, if anything, it needs to be a bit lighter on the top here. We'll just colour this in here, and then I might just add a touch more light on this top piece just here. And I'm doing that by adding a little bit of lemon lolly back in. A little bit of light lemon lolly. There we go. And if you look at the image on that's on the paper, you can see how dark some of these areas are. So don't be afraid of going dark. What's this one? Yeah. So we can add a bit more darkness now and under here. And because we've added those dots previously, this just adds colour on top. And if we make it a little bit less regular, that's going to look better too, because, you know, in nature things are not regular. And if you're colouring flowers or fruit or anything like that from nature, remember that nature's not perfect. Might look like it is sometimes, but, you know, it could be going over, it could be just, you know, changing how it's growing depending on, you know, what's happening. And then we'll just bring this in and do a last sweep of that over the top. Okay, so I think that's pretty good for an orange. We've got a little bit of light going on here, light and shade. You can see how that's darkening up around the edges. I'm almost tempted to go a little darker again. Still doesn't feel dark enough for me, so I'm going to come in with a bit more here, I think. That's a bit better. And just up here. I'll just add a little in here, and then we can flesh it out as we go. Okay. And you'll see, if you turn this over, you'll see you're completely through on the back here. Jane says she'd have given up ages ago. Really? But this, no, it's very, well, some people don't like it. Some people prefer pencils. Some people prefer just going, you know, flat images. That's fine. You don't have to like this way of colouring, but I know a lot of people do. So I just want to make sure that they're feeling inspired as well. That's better. Just want to make that a little bit more obvious that it's coming around in that circle. There we go. Okay, so that is our orange. I'm going to leave that there. Then we're going to do our leaves. Now for our leaves, I've got the mossy meadow, because if you look on here, it's quite dark, some of these leaves on this paper. So, but I'm going to use the light version. I don't think I want to use the dark version at this point. So I'm going to turn this round so I'm not rubbing over that alcohol, because even though it's going to dry, it's not dry yet. So we'll bring this light mossy meadow down, and again we'll pick a side. Oh, what is going on with my blends today? I must have stored them at an angle. Okay, so we're going to add a tad darker shading. I mean, really the stem should be early espresso, but you know, I'm not going to get pedantic with that. We'll bring some darker shading around here, and we'll do lighter at the top there. We'll have darker down here. Bring a bit of dark around here. It doesn't look like anything much when you start doing it like that, but honestly this is this will be darker because it's under here. The light's going to hit it from here, so it'll be darker a little bit on the top, but mainly underneath this leaf, and definitely underneath this petal, and then underneath this leaf at the bottom here. So I'm just sketching in where I know the light will be darker. So it'll definitely be darker coming out from behind an orange, because it will have the shadow of the orange on it. And then it will lighten up towards the end. Okay. So then, this is Lemon Lime Twist, which is quite a bright colour, but it goes nicely with the Mossy Meadow. So I like merging these two together. Now it's going to be very light on top there, so we'll leave that for a bit. And I'm using my brush where normally I wouldn't use my brush, but it's obviously not. Brushes are not, the tips don't seem to be working for me today. It's marvellous. Didn't have time to test them all before I started. Okay. I'm not paying any attention. Jane says she'd have cut out the DSP. Yes, that's fair enough. Somebody said my last comment didn't make a lot of sense. Do the nibs get contaminated when you use the pen over another colour? No, they don't. No, they work fine. That's one of the benefits of a alcohol marker, is that you can put one over the top of the other and it works okay. And in fact, that's the whole point of the blending, is that you should, in fact, blend the two together by going over and over. Like so. Okay, so that's that. So now we're going to add in our light green, which is just the lighter version of that colour, into the spaces I've left. This time I'm doing it this way around. I'm adding the light afterwards, just to really show you that you can do both. It doesn't matter which way around you do it, it's up to you, despite what you may think or hear. It's entirely how your brain works as to which way you want that light to come. And probably not so much down here, just maybe on the tips. I'll add a bit there. Then I'm going back in again. I'm going to start to really merge this dark green in now. By overlaying more and more of this lighter colour, which helps to really merge it in. And really soften the lines between the two colours. And you know, there are lots of other ways of colouring, but for me, I get my most realistic colouring, or what I think of as most realistic colouring in my head, when I use my blends. I feel like I can do it justice with my blends rather than pencils, mainly because pencils hurt my wrist. If I'm being completely honest, the amount of colouring you have to do over and over with your pencils to really get a good coverage, it does my wrist in, so, and my fingers hurt, whereas using this is much easier. It's just the way it is, it's just how I feel. Okay, that's the one that's not working. Is this one working? Let's go really dark, see if this one's working. Okay, let's go really dark on those. Always lighten them up a bit with another colour on top, which I think I probably will do, because that's now very dark. It's a bit darker. Yeah, I guess that kind of works. Okay, don't ask me why I've got price list here on this side of this piece of paper, so I'm just going to move that out of the way. I don't know. Okay, is this working? Yes. All right, so we can just lighten that up a little. If we want to add a little bit of more of a yellowy tone, you can go over the top of dark and change the colour, which again is a feature of alcohol markers, that you can do that, and I think that's great. It gives you that opportunity. So we'll make this bit a bit greenier or yellowier. Okay, now there's a couple of spots here where I've gone over slightly, but you know what, we're going to cut it out, so I'm not that bothered. But if you were bothered, you can use, which is leaking, you can use your colour lifter to just come in from back here, and it pushes the alcohol back in. That's the only one I think I've got, so I think I'm okay with that. It's kind of okay on here. It's not quite lifted it all off because it had that really weird thing happen when I put it on, but I think we'll live with it. And we'll see how these go. They look okay to me. This is my light version, isn't it? Yeah. So just add that there. And then I might just add a little bit of dark. Make sure they really go, they click in, because otherwise and that might be what's happened to some of those others, the alcohol will dry out. It's still there, so it's okay. Now if you feel like it's because I don't know why some of these may have just sunk down the thing, you can stand them upright like that. So there we go. So that's that. And you can use some pencils if you want to add some extra bits. So we've got some Daffodil Delight. I've got a little bit of white, and I've got a little bit of early espresso, I think that is, yeah, but I need to have them a little bit. Some of these are okay. So, you know, you can go in and you can really make those dots stand out a little more if you want to with your pencil. Just add a little bit over the top. Doesn't have to be much. Just add a little. We can add in some little yellow highlights if we want to on here. Okay. I'm not one of those people who likes to spend 3 hours colouring something. You know, I know there's lots of people out there who like to do that. I get bored too easily, if I'm completely honest. I just can't. I'm a quick crafter, so I prefer, you know, from my perspective, I get good enough results for a card if I just add a little extra texture with some white in here, just to lift that slightly. Doesn't have to be much, just a little. But I'm not one who can spend 6 hours on one piece of designing or, you know, colouring. I like to get on with the next project. Okay, so there you go. That's it. Done, dusted. I think you'll agree it doesn't look too bad. For a quick, what's that, 20 minutes? Jane would have given up already. Okay. So now we're going to cut it out and we're going to make a card, because, you know, that's what we like to do. So here we go. Let's pop this on here. Okay. That's going to line up. I think that's going to, I can't actually get my head over to see whether that's lining up all right. I think that's lining up okay. Lining up all right? Looks like it is. Right, so I'm going to go and pop this over here. And, you know, in my membership, I share the basics of colouring and also how to use alcohol inks, which obviously we don't have. at Stampin' Up. But I also share how to use colouring. I also have demonstrations and guest experts in, including Copic experts coming in and colouring for us in the membership. And hopefully Alyssa's going to come and do one for me. She promised me she would. Alyssa's going to come and do one because yes, she's great. But as I say, I can't do what she does because it takes her far too long to make anything from my perspective. So I will invite those people who do things like that, but I myself won't. But she is a good friend of mine. We've been on holiday and chatted about it over a candy floss, or fairy fluff, I think you call it in Australia, or what do you call it in the States? I'm trying to remember. I can't remember. But yes, we were chatting about it just in April. So here we go. Here is the card we're going to make. So I've gone for a lemon lolly base, but I want it slightly darker because, you know, it isn't really just, I don't know, it's a bit flat. Yeah. So we're going to go with a little bit of stamping and a little bit of blending. I'm going to get my mat out. Oh. Here we go. Excuse my tape from other things. Right, so I've got my little blending brush here. You could use a big one, it's just I don't happen to have a yellow small one. And coming in now, I've got a metal mat here, but if you want the glass mat, it's now available. The Stampin' Up glass mat is now available, so that you can, it's great for things like this. You can really get your colours working on it and going. Fairy floss, cotton candy, there we go, that's what it's called. Thank you. Cotton candy, yes. But over here we call it candy floss. So we had a great time trying to work out what we all called it and why we all called it something different. I have to say, I think the Australian name for it is far better than cotton candy or candy floss. Fairy floss is so much better. It's such a nice name. But there we go. So yes, so we're just going to do a little bit of spot of blending because I haven't played with inks this weekend, really. Not very much because we were just playing with paper and I feel a little bit left out. I feel like I need to get my inky fingers going again. All right, so we'll do that. We'll take this off. Wash that in a bit. Then I have my little tiny flowers, which come in the stamp set as well. Oh, hi Marcy, cotton candy, yeah. There we go. We'll just pop some of these on very lightly so it's not particularly obvious. And when you go over it where it's been blended, it's even less obvious because you're adding the same ink colour over, but it is there very lightly. And we can just add a few smaller ones. It's just a little texture, that's all it is, to the card. I don't know if you can actually see those, but can you see them? There they are there. So they're just there very, very lightly in the background. Okay, so we're going to go with a Night of Navy base. Then my lemon lolly, which I've blended. So for Donna and Claire and my other visually impaired crafters, I've blended around the edge of this lemon lolly piece of cardstock, which is your base layer, with my blending brush and lemon lolly, and then I've stamped randomly some of the little flowers, again in lemon lolly, all over that. I've got a strip here of blue and white pattern paper. It's actually the back of one of the other pieces in the in that paper pack, and that's going to go down on the left hand side as a strip, so it's not, it only covers up sort of a third of the card on the left hand side. There we go. And Donna, if you're watching this, I did send you a message with links because I know you were having trouble, but also later on today, anyone who came to the paper party will get an email with the video links on, so you'll be able to watch everything back, because I know you were struggling for some reason. Your your audio tool that you use to try and find your way around Facebook wasn't helping you, wasn't working very well for you. So hopefully the links that I provided in Messenger will help you today and yesterday, and then obviously you'll get the link later on today with the whole thing. Okay, and now that's on there, and I have my little orange, and it's a grouping of an orange with 2 flowers and 2 buds and leaves. Okay, so for Donna who can't see, that's what that is. And then I've got a little, I think I'm going to move this down. I don't know if I want to do that. If I want to do, I want to do that. It's got to come out from here, I feel. That and that. That looks kind of better, or maybe over the top of it, to be honest. Yes, so I've got a little round die cut from Spotlight on Nature, and I need my and that is white die cut out with this Broderie Anglais outside cut out piece. You know what I mean? It cuts out a pattern that reminds me of Broderie Anglais all the way around the outside of these dies. It's great. I'm just adding the little hello to that in Night of Navy ink, and that's going to go on my card with dimensionals. Okay. Like so, and then I'm going to put my grouping of my coloured in image also on dimensionals. Like this, just so we get no soggy middles. And then I'm going to add a couple of little ones just to this leaf. I don't want that leaf getting stuck. Where have my little ones gone? Oh, pull them out at the same time. Knew I needed them. Just put one there. I'm not going to put one on there, that'll cope. On the stalk will cope. I'm actually going to glue it to the top of the other sentiment. So the sentiment I positioned in the top third of the strip, the blue and white strip. Just gluing that on there, and then I'm hanging the fruit off of that so it comes down the card like so. So it's got a good contrast. And then I want something white. I don't want something big, I want something little. So I've probably got, oh actually maybe some linen thread. Linen, you can't go wrong with linen thread. So we'll just get a little bit of linen thread, and I'm just going to tie a tiny bow in my linen thread and pop that yeah. So I think, you know, for me, this is quick colouring, and I feel for a beginner, this is what you need. I think you can get so hung up on which pens to buy, how many to buy, you know, what works, what doesn't work. Do I need to have all this different shading and all that kind of stuff? Really, what you need is you just need to make a card and be able to colour something so it looks pretty, looks like what it is, and you can send that to somebody to say hello. I don't think it needs to be more complicated than that with your colouring. And that's what I get, and that's what I train on. That's what I teach you. That's what I taught you today, and it's what we do in the card making know-how. Although I do, for confident card makers, add in some extras. So if you're interested in joining, then you can come and join the Card Making Know-how Academy here at cardmakingknowhow.com. And if you want to grab any of the materials or anything like that which you've seen me use here today, because they're all current colours. You can buy all of these, then you can grab that at queenpipcards.com/store. So I'm glad that you like my colouring, Deborah. Thanks very much. Lynn says, I've no idea how to colour with blends, so love this. Well, Lynn, there's an entire masterclass when you get to explore in the Card Making Know-How Academy. So this is just a little taste, really. And then I do go into a lot more detail about how I colour, why I colour, how alcohol works in its entirety, because alcohol is a completely different medium to everything else that we use in stamping. And it deserves an entire masterclass all on its own, which is what I've done. So it's a whole course basically on everything to do with alcohol, not of the drinking variety. Let me just make that clear. Everything to do with alcohol in terms of inks. But I think it's a very simple card. It doesn't have to be complicated, and you can have a bit of colouring, and it doesn't need to be more than it is, to give you something that people will love and hopefully your friends will love to receive. So there we go. I've managed to do it. It's 1:15. I've done it, and I can get off now to the doctor's for my annual checkup. Make sure I'm still okay. So I will see you here, and my voice has still stayed, which is amazing. So I will be able to I'll be able to see you next week. I'm back next week. I can't remember what I'm doing next week because my brain's just not with it at the moment. But yes, I will see you next week for another one of these. And in the meantime, I hope you'll give blending a try. I hope you'll give alcohol marker colouring a try, because it is so much fun. Unless you're even less patient than me and can't cope with anything more than 20 minutes to colour something. So there you go. All right, everyone. Thanks ever so much. Have a lovely weekend. And if you receive my emails tomorrow, you'll get all the details on how to purchase the online creative paper party. 40 cards, over 40 cards. We did over the weekend. It was a mammoth task, but it was great fun. And we've still time for Christmas in July, so don't forget that. And then yeah, I'll see you next week. Take care for now. Bye bye.